he applied late to USC, so he wasn't sure where he was going to go, and he applied late and too late to get any financial aid. So then when he got accepted, I said, well, how are you going to pay for it? And he said, I don't know how I'm going to pay for it. And I said, well, you better come up with something because it's pretty expensive and we don't have the money. So that's where the Air Force scholarship thing came from. It's a little nerve-wracking. I deployed to the war. I never expected my son. Almost exactly 5 years later, he was there. So.
Well, I remember one time we were walking in McCarthy Quad in Wompatsit, and like we were just walking like this, holding hands, and like we see this like figure in the like background, and just like watching us and like
closer
waving.
And it was Sun, and he's like, "I'm your #1 fan, guys." We were like, "Okay."
Yeah, I think I've been Tim and Bonnie's #1 fan for a long time, so I've been their like personal paparazzo for forever. Always hiding in the bushes, taking pictures of them. Usually they had no idea.
Where was their first kiss?
That was it? You got it on film? Or that?
First kiss.
I feel like I should know that question.
Yeah, that's a tough one. They
Like
usually lose.
Princeton.
Yeah, they usually lose that kiss.
On the lip.
Right now.
I have no idea. I wish I did. I wish I was there to take that picture.
In California. That's my final answer.
Maybe that's not good. I'm gonna go with outside Sun's room in one of the dorms.
Corner.
No, that was when he first asked to kiss me, and we were right outside Sun's door, and I was like, no. If you see like the 7th floor, the one from the very top, that was Sun's room, and so that's where right outside Tim asked to kiss me.
Son, Son, you denied me. Sorry.
It kind of caught me by surprise.
I was gonna say the whole thing. Can I kiss you?
And I was like, and I could just like see Sun like in his room, like this is so awkward. So that's why I was like, maybe later. On my cheek.
Okay. That's pretty much
bye.
out. Yeah, bye. Okay, bye.
We're quite the awkward couple. I don't know how you felt about it, but
I felt rejected, but that's just the man in me. It's okay.
so yeah.
We actually kissed for the first time on the East Coast. We had done like the Eskimo nose kiss thing, and I guess it just went from there to a normal kiss at some point. It was an intimate moment, and
We were in the parking structure.
we were in the parking structure
And,
in the car,
Yeah.
in the front seat. Yeah.
That's all.
You know, I wasn't like, I'm getting married tomorrow, you know, but I was like, okay, this is someone worth committing to, you know, and seeing how far it can go. We were still within our first year. I felt like I loved her, you know, I knew I loved her, and it wasn't quite as fast for her.
We had a lot of petty fights, and it was like, all right, well, I could just leave and like leave the relationship. That's it. Like, it's not worth it, you know? And I had a lot of times like that, but I remember it was after Stephen Lewis's wedding. This is like,
I'm going to get a story that I don't remember now. This is good.
it was something just about what Chris, the pastor, said, you know, how much Steve loved Larissa about it. And I was like, man, like, you know, the way that Tim had shown me, like, his love for me, like that, I've really been taking that for granted. Like, I just hadn't seen it. And then I think it was like the next day or very soon after that, like, I remember Tim had said some kind of joke. I don't even know what it was anymore, but like I remember like laughing, like genuinely laughing, like I would normally if other people told me jokes.
Actually funny things?
Actually funny things.
Yeah.
So I was like, wow, like I didn't know that would be possible. I remember like the moment when I told myself, no, like I'm gonna commit to this relationship, like it's worth it. Like after that point, like all those petty fights were like, no, it's worth it, I'm gonna fight for it. But
all right,
yeah,
we're squeezing hands now. I guess that's what we do. found out on about a Monday that I had a possibility, something was going to come, and on Friday I got the official email that said, okay, come see me. I went and talked to the deployment guy, and he's like, this is what's happening, you're going to this place on this day. At the same time, I was like, I knew how busy Bonnie was, and so I had to fight that urge to just call her up immediately.
One, I had a big conference, pharmacy conference that weekend. I was also deciding to run for a national position during that weekend. And in addition to that, I had a final on Monday.
So I actually called my dad, who's in the military, and I was like, I need to talk to somebody about this, you know, this is how I'm feeling.
It's something I can assure him you're going to get through, and this is how you get through, and it's going to be hard at different times.
He also had just some encouragement that, okay, you know, you're really lucky, you have that much time to prepare, you know, it's going to be good, you're going to have good experience, and that's kind of what I needed to hear because of all the, you know, just not knowing what to expect, just to have somebody who's done it to say, okay, it's going to be all right, you know. So
there's a quote I read a long time ago from a guy named Gable Gunther Williams, who's a lion tamer, and when he was training his son to take over the business, he said, my single piece of advice for you is to be there.
Just, well, I mean, keep your head down, but, you know, beyond that, just, you know, while you're there, take that time to just really enjoy, enjoy the experience in the sense that, you know, take the time to follow through on some hobbies, on some reading, you know, learn a lot, you know, talk to people.
When you're there, have your head in the game, pay attention to what you're doing, watch what's going on around you, and not be distracted by so many other things.
Just kind of get a lot out of the experience. Don't just ride through it, just kind of waiting for 6 months to end.
After I finished my final, it was also my brother's birthday, so I drove down to meet my family, to have dinner, and before that Tim had said, you know what, we hadn't talked in a while, like let's talk after you finish your dinner. So I was like, the whole time I thought in my head, well, he got into this program, there's no way that they could send him because he's going to start school in the fall. But little did I know that they could easily push him to the spring and have him go abroad. So after dinner, I was driving back up from Orange County to LA, and I was on the phone, I remember this, and he told me.
It was rough. I just was slow, I was patient, and I just had to I didn't start, you know, crying or anything. The news was kind of pretty settled for me.
He had said something about being told that he had to go to the sandbox. He said the sandbox, and in my head I was like, what is he talking about? And I just didn't want to believe that it was being sent overseas.
It's kind of weird, like, I was the one going, but I knew it was going to be almost harder for her to deal with that than it was for me, you know.
And I was driving down the freeway, and I remember being like, oh my gosh, and just like holding it in as he was like saying these things to me, and I was just like, you know, driving like a maniac, just like, oh my gosh, I can't believe this is happening. I got back to my apartment, and, you know, I didn't have anything with me but like sticky notes, because I had been studying and all this stuff, and I didn't have tissues, and I remember just like taking the sticky notes and like like wiping it all off and like throwing it aside and like taking like a whole pad worth of them just to like soak up my tears, and I was just like devastated, and I think that was like the most I had ever cried in my life.
It was October, and they said you're not going to leave till February, March. So on one side I was like, okay, that's really good, I have a lot of time, you know. I wasn't engaged yet, so it was like, okay, I should probably press forward on that. That was good. I mean, it kind of got me, you know, going a little bit.